I've been cleaning in here. It's been a huge mess. Vacuumed up like 600 spiders. I'm dirty. It's just how it is. It's still hot out. You're probably thinking, Jake, the bike is done. What is this build? What are you doing in this video? There still is things to do, okay? We have to put all the luggage stuff on here. We have to put the fuel and water tanks and all that crap on there. This is a venture bike. We have to be able to, it's more than just me going somewhere. We could just take the Supermoto. That would make more sense, really. Before that, a couple small things we need to knock out. We did get a whole lot done in the last two videos with the bodywork and tail light and all that good jazz. So go check those out if you haven't seen it. Otherwise, let's hear one of those intros.
MT-07 Adventure Bike Series. We'll bolt some parts on, then we'll go off-roading.
So one of the first things I want to mess with in this video is actually something you guys pointed out to me. It's one of the great things, with the engagement back and forth in these videos and the comments. I do read through them, and you guys point things out to me that I miss sometimes. And one of the things y'all pointed out to me had to do with the clutch. When we put this clutch on, this is the Righteous Stunt clutch. It's a great clutch, super easy to pull. The problem is the OEM clutch has a switch in it when you pull it in, so that the computer knows the clutch has been pulled in. Once that's not on there, you can only start the bike when it's in neutral, because otherwise the computer doesn't know that you've got the clutch pulled in. So if it's in gear and you're trying to start the bike, it's gonna go, no, it's trying to save you there. It's a good thing. If you only ever rode the bike on the street, it probably would be okay like that, only ever being able to start neutral. The problem is, taking this thing off-road, there's definitely gonna be scenarios where you're in a weird situation, the bike stalls on you, you're holding the clutch, you might be on a hill. You're not gonna be wanting to try to find neutral, you just wanna hold the clutch in and quickly refire the bike. That's a very likely scenario going off-roading. So what I did was I simply took the two wires that went to the sensor and connected them together. That's just a simple way of tricking the computer into thinking that the clutch is always being pulled in. But the thing that you guys pointed out to me is that it's gonna make the bike run really rough because it's always gonna be thinking that the clutch is pulled in. So what happens is these bikes actually have tunings and maps per gear. You have like kind of your overall map, and you have your sensors, how they can come in and say, oh, well, let's bring the whole thing up a little, down a little, whatever they're gonna do. Not only does the fueling need to be a little bit different, but a lot of it really is to do with the ignition timing. With it thinking that the clutch is constantly pulled in, it's basically in a free rev map. And I figured it out real quick when I took it for a couple test spins. One of the things I noticed is when you roll into the throttle kind of hard, you can get like definitely like a stutter through the engine. And I immediately was like, okay, I need to stop riding this thing. I need to fix that. We need to make sure that the computer is actually reading what gear it's in and selecting the appropriate tuning. So what I could do is I could go back in there and just disconnect those wires. Be fine, I would just have to find neutral. But I don't really want to do that either. So I sat here for a while and I came up with a couple ideas. Put basically like an ignition kill switch right here, like a dirt bike would have, like the XR. Wire in the switches to that, and when I push it in, it would think the clutch is pulled in. Basically like a manual override. You pull the clutch in, kind of get your hand over here, click it, and bam, you can fire it up. But I'm sure you notice that's a little bit awkward. My hand's kind of hard stretched there. Then I thought, I don't really ever use this pass light right here. And this would be a pretty easy trigger. So the game plan is I'm gonna see if I can't connect those wires to this little trigger. Here's actually the connection to this guy, and this is just how it comes factory all wrapped up. I didn't do this. Why Yamaha? Why was this the chosen way? Those two wires are what goes to that little clicker there. So that's just like a momentary switch. I'll have to kind of reconnect it to make sure once I disconnect those that it doesn't like disable the light altogether. I don't think it would. That's kind of step one here. Let me just do that. All right, let's see if I got any skills to pay the bills to try to remove a little bit of solder. To be completely honest with you, I'm not super great at. I was like, I gotta be careful not to touch any of this other plastic. It would definitely melt pretty easy. Okay, there we go. That one's disconnected. Woo, that's hot. There it is. All right, I'm gonna go plug it back in and see what happens. Our high beam, our low beam, that's all working. But these two wires right now are doing nothing. I'm gonna guess if I touch these two together, should get high beam. Yep, fine if those are separated, it just means that switch isn't gonna do its thing anymore. Awesome, that's what I thought. There's a little zip tie right here, it just kind of binds all this together. And right here should be where I had those wires I modified. So let's try to get into that. Yes, there's my little wires. I'm almost thinking it's just become such a mess here. I might write down how all these pins go and just pull these out, slip all this off, and redo it. Taking pictures, I've made some notes. There's a little like plastic tab in here. If we just push on it, there it is. All right. And that's what snaps it in. There's a small hole right there and a little clip in there. And just to show you when they go put them back in, they pop when they go back in. They go get between them here, push up, and There it comes out. All right, I'm gonna move the camera away and do the rest. There's the wires that we modified. If I slip this back a little, let's see what we can see. Yeah, here we go. So what Yamaha has done here is they've just tapped into these two wires right here and ran these up. This was the two wires that went to the clutch right here, right? These are the two wires that go to this switch, which is literally just a momentary switch. You click this, it basically is like putting these two wires together. So we're gonna undo these and connect them to these. Bing, bada boom, we'll be good. See how factory Yamaha does this. Oh, they do it real fancy. Would you look at that? Not that fancy, actually. That's kind of poor. I don't like that at all. So I need to reconnect these two wires now without the piece in there, these guys. But obviously, if we just were to like cut these, slit them and solder them, see how we bunch everything up, that's no good. So we want to keep it around the same length. So simplest thing to do here is start by stripping off a little piece of this. I'm gonna grab a little piece of this wire here. We'll just snip it off, you know, around there. We'll trim it up better in just a second here. And this wire is actually a little bit thicker, but like I said before, this is 14 gauge. It's always better to go, it's like going to a business meeting and being better dressed than the other people there. I think with the red one of these will fit. I always do this wrong. You really should shove this down before you strip the other end. That would make it a little easier. See? Whoop. Now you can kind of see, like, recut this yellow one about here. The switcher, I think if I remove this, I can work on this away from it. Should be nice. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get a couple lengths of cable here, probably a little longer than I think I need them. I think the deal is almost like to put a dab of solder on each one of these, put some solder on these, then heat them up and like stick them together. So I'm gonna try to do that. Okay, now I gotta try to put like some solder on this. I think I need to try to just put a little bit more of a puddle on them. I don't know, kind of merge them all together, you know? All right, there we go. Made a little puddle on that one. Only semi-melted the plastic. This guy sits in there like this. The wires need to come across this way. I guess the thing to do, right, is to get it to touch, and then you have to, I guess it is on there kind of okay. Comment below what to do. Or read these in real time somehow. What if I just like keep weight on it from the top? Like heat it from the top and like jump into one. Oh, this is kind of doing a thing. Oh, I like that. All right, man, that ain't going nowhere. That's good. All right. We got it curves back there. It does its thing. You know what we're gonna do? Zip tying it on here. God bless America. Would you look at that? So this little stick holds them all in. So kind of line this up. Get this kind of into position, spin it backwards, find the previous thread, spin it the other way. And there's the two pieces we added, and here's a thing that they have to connect to. So we've got extra. Hey, that's good. Woo! All right, we're getting there. For these wires, it doesn't matter which way we connect them because all this is like a momentary switch. When you push this, it's just making these two wires connect together. And like I said, these were the clutch wires. So when these get pressed together, it thinks that the clutch has been pressed in. All right, what's good here too is that we can stage these so these solder points aren't right next to each other. It's pretty thin wire. That's good because it means our whole switch and everything was meant for a lot more, you know, high-powered stuff. So. Nice, we've done it. Now we just gotta clean this up with the shrink wrap and all that stuff. My favorite thing in the whole wide world. I do love these pre-cut things of shrink wrap. It will mean I have to do a bunch of layers going down here. But honestly, trying to shove all this through one big thing would have been impossible anyway, so. Before we go too far down, let's go to ohms here. Touch them together, you get a nice 0. See, when they're apart, they're not. Stick these on each one. There's no connection, but if I press that trigger, yeah. Now let go, it goes off. Trigger on, it goes. Before we go too crazy. Stuff the wires in, I can shut the door. There's the little tab that they would have us put a zip tie on, so let's do that real quick. Just about ready to start reconnecting our connector. I put one final piece of shrink wrap kind of down the tube here. We'll pull it back up and shrink it in a minute. This is the bottom, this is brown, this is right. That should. Take this electrical tape back down so that the connection end is hidden behind this shrink wrap. and therefore it'd be pretty unlikely for it to ever come undone. Also, what I've done with all the shrink wrap, since it's got some writing on it, I've kept that all in the same place. That's kind of on the under part where I figured this is going to be sitting. There it is, and with the shrink wrap it is a little more stiff, but that's fine with me. But yeah, and there's some little connectors here and there as it goes down, but I still think this looks a ton cleaner than anything that we just pulled out of there. Right, I'm just gonna stick it on like this before we do anything crazy and just make sure everything's kind of happy here with it. So that turn signal, cover your ears. So our high and low beam does its thing. The switch, however, does not do anything. Now, I'm gonna stick it in gear. When we do this, it shouldn't start. Yeah, it doesn't want to start. Now, it's a little dangly because I don't have it connected yet. We're going to I'm holding the switch in now. Oh, it works. Okay, yeah, the clutch is dragging just slightly. That worked. I actually tested it again. Now what I'd like to do, it's dark, I've got Simoto glasses now. We need to adjust the fog lights and of course the main headlight we need to do a little more adjusting on. A lot of y'all were complaining there's too mumuch overthrown to upper light. Thought of some solutions here. This is what I'm gonna try without going to like a full amber lens or anything. This might even be a better solution. This is like a tail light, headlight repair kit stuff they make. So what I'm thinking is we're gonna make a strip of this and maybe put it in here somewhere. If we can kind of get it like kind of between the high and the low beam, I think we should be able to kind of diffuse the light just a little bit, as well as take some of the harshness out of it. I hope this will work. I think this will work. I have no doubt that this won't stay stuck on there and be like a permanent solution, because this is made to be a permanent repair for your headlights. Here's what we've done. I looked up how you're supposed to adjust headlights, and you're supposed to put these X's on the wall and bounce the suspension and roll the vehicle back and roll it forward and I lost interest. Maybe kind of the redneck way to do it, but my headlights in my F-150 and the headlights in my bike are in the same place. The fog lights basically at the same place. I know this vehicle has pretty well adjusted headlights. It's a 2017, it's factory, it's fine, it's good, and no one ever flashes at me. So this is good. So what we're gonna do is, if they're at the same height, if I make my lights match these lights, then it should be good. That's what I'm telling myself at least. I'm gonna start with the fog lights here. I think mine are actually still a bit lower. I think I can get away with raising them just a little bit. Oh, I can cover one with my hand. Oh, this is brilliant. I've brought in so I'm gonna tighten these up real quick. This is the way you do it. I mean, look, you go to a mechanic and tell them to adjust his lights. Do you really think they put all those X's on the wall, or do you think they just go find a vehicle with similar headlight? I bet that's what they do. I'm gonna call those good. Awesome. Now, so there's the high beam. And realistically, this high beam is about where I want it. I think that's where you really need to start if I'm going to try to do this weird adjustment thing. Right here we're looking at the truck's low beam, and so what we'll do is we're going to now start the bike. Let's play with this thing. Just completely cover this up here. That looks crazy. I just thought of it. I got a great idea. That's dumb. This is oh, there we go. Turn the truck's low beams back on. Then we're going to turn the bike's low beams already on. Then you and I are going to walk that way and we're going to look at them. You stay right here. I'm going to go grab that film. On camera it just looks completely blown out though, but no, I think that film's where it's at. Alright, we'll trim it away where the bottom part's here and the upper part of it will kind of overlap kind of into the middle of this sort of next row right here. What I believe is happening at times is there's a little bleed off light that's kind of getting into these other ones. I think that's why you're getting kind of a high kickoff on it. I think that'll stop it enough. Yeah, let's trim this thing up. Let's figure it out. It's gonna sit in there just like that. Somebody had told me in the comments to put heat on stuff like this and I'll really make the glue sticky. So, all right. It's like it's wearing like some of those like sunglasses, like some hipster ones. On camera, this looks so bad still. I was just looking at some of the footage from last night. This still looks like it's just crazy beaming light. It doesn't really seem that, like I've had my wife come out and look at it. I've looked at it like just backing it up and standing from like sort of normal height. It seems like reasonable. The one thing though I am still seeing a bit of has to do with these side lights right here. And these are meant to be kind of an outward projecting light. And I think that that's mostly fine. It's just, it's so like intense. So I do have some little scrap pieces here. I should have cut this a little better. I kind of was just like hacking off pieces. Like, yeah, whatever, I got plenty in here. But I think I still have enough to make some little squares. Person coming at you, that'll take the edge off this light just a little bit. I was just kind of silly. Like we have such a bright light that we now have to modify it to not be as intense. It's a bit silly if you went with like an LP6 or actually one of their lights that's really meant for the street. This is not a DOT light, you know, they never intended this to be one. So, but this fits in here so good, and it still is awesome. When you go to high beam, it's still just this great projection down the road. So I don't regret that. I think it's good. I think from this angle you can really see where these lights now we're gonna have to run through that. That's really gonna kill a lot of its fatigue to the drivers coming down the road. I've got you at like this height on me. If you're in a truck, you'd be a little higher than that. If you were in a car, you might be a little lower than that. Definitely a warmer light from my perspective. I think it's fine. They are kind of bouncing off this reflective polished garage floor, which you wouldn't really have in real life. It's a little less reflective. That's probably barely doing anything. If I get down like this, oh yeah, if you get like, I gotta get to about there, and it's suddenly real intense. I mean, I don't know what, I can't see it all now. I don't know how many vehicles where your head's this low. I feel like I'm mostly pretty good like this. So I'll pretend I'm a motorist passing the car here. It's good. We've done it. I'm calling this a success. I don't want to hear any more about me blinding other drivers. Anyone from Baja Designs who sees this and thinks, what are you doing? Sorry, I know you guys made this amazing light, but I had to like kind of nerf it a little. I think it looks kind of cool. I am getting some of that amber light sort of thing from my point of view, which can be good. You know, there's a lot of things saying that those more amber lights do help in certain conditions, like sandy conditions and snowing conditions, which doubt we'll see the snowing conditions. But hey, sandy stuff, you know, ripping down the trail, doing that night riding, it could help. Two Bros exhaust come a little baffled. I did drill a hole through it at one point because I put one of those stupid exhaust whistles on it for a clickbait video. Just telling it how it is, man. But that shouldn't make a difference. I'm gonna put this in, mainly for the other people I'm riding with. You know, if we're gonna be going on a trip or cruising for long periods of time, that thing is pretty darn loud. I love it, but yeah, just for everyone else's ears, I say we slip this in. Hey, did you know that this video is this amount longer on Patreon? And this entire series is this amount longer on Patreon? I know we talk about this like every time, but it's the Patreons that keep this channel going. It's the support that they give that makes these videos possible for you to see. And if you're interested in getting some extra content, helping support what we do here, go check it out. You can join it for just $1 a month and you'll be able to see the entire backlog of everything we've done, you know, forever on there. Also, I think like only 40% of y'all watching this are subscribed. Subscriber number almost doesn't even seem like a thing anymore. I mean, if you've been watching this series, there's a good chance this videos just pop up in your feed. I know how that works. However, to a lot of the sponsors for this video, whether it's for parts or ad sponsors we work with that really help support everything that you see here, they still like that number. They still kind of live in that old school world. They like to see that. So it does help if you subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna have to apologize again for cutting the video sort of short for what we sort of planned in that video. You make a list of things that you say, this is how I think it's gonna go, and I'll make a video on this stuff and on this stuff, and it's on me. It just, you get into it. It does, a lot of times it's not until I literally get to editing that I go, oh crap, I've got way more footage than I thought. Give me your feedback on some of this too, because certain things like doing that little trigger switch for the clutch, that took way longer when I was editing it than I thought it was gonna take. In my head, I thought that was gonna take like 2 or 3 minutes. I felt like it was important to show those steps the way I did. And sometimes it's not me even being an expert on something, it's me kind of learning with y'all. But I feel like that's helpful to see sort of my mindset as I go into things like this. You know, I don't expect everyone watching these videos to, you know, buy a LP9 for their MT-07 and then modify it like this, or to do this exact clutch switch modification. Applicable mechanical thinkings. If you guys like that, let me know. Or if you think, yeah, no, Jake, just cut it down short. You know, you like more of that montage style edit, comment that, let me know. But next video, we'll throw the rotopacks on, the luggage on. The rotopacks are super cool because we've been doing some fun DIYing on this bike, and this is one of those other great things where we had to come up with something. I think you're gonna think this is so cool, because the end result was amazing. I'm shocked at how well it turned out. I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna charge all my stuff when I'm out there on the go, because that's a whole thing we have to do while we're out filming new and adventure videos. I don't even want to say for sure, but that should be the last video. Like, I'm 99% sure that will be the final video. Then we're gonna go take this thing out. It's not just gonna be like take this thing out on one trip and call it good. We planned several things already, some little short trips, a bigger trip. I didn't build this just for the giggles. I built it because I wanted to actually do fun stuff like this. So thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next build video.